Senior Counsel Kanan Ramesh began re-examination of Sharon Tan yesterday, giving context and clarity on issues raised by the prosecution. It is the prosecution's case that the retainer fees CHC paid to Extron were just a convenient cover story to pump church monies into Extron. Deputy Public Prosecutor Mavis Cheong alleged that Extron was just a shell company used by the defendants to channel the church's building funds into the crossover project. In an email chain discussing the strategy to help Extron clear its losses of about $52.4 million in November 2009, the prosecution suggested that the plan appeared to be to increase the retainer fees from CHC to Extron. Senior Counsel for Sharon Tan, Kanan Ramesh, took the court through a chronology of events through email documents, starting with a proposal from Extron to increase its retainer fee by $700,000 for the coming year of 2009 due to an increase in hours expended to service its contractual obligations to the church. Discussions had then ensued between Sharon Tan and co-defendant Tan Yee Ping. Apparently, the increase would blow the church's budget, which was already in a very tight position. Eventually, CHC's retainer fees to Extron factored in only an increment of $400,000, down from the proposed increment of $700,000. Far from liberally pumping money into Extron, Ramesh sought to establish that Sharon Tan, along with her co-accused, had been mindful to ensure that fees paid to Extron were reasonable and justifiable. The court also saw that the proposed increase in retainer was approved by the CHC board. Tan also testified that the retainer fees paid were real and legitimate payments for services required for the running of CHC's events. The proposal for the increment by the Extron management had been in view of CHC moving into their new premises at Suntec. With the move, the scope of work provided by Extron would have increased quite a lot, including operations in a much larger hall, a gallery, and 10 rooms. Senior Counsel Ramesh sought to give context to the prosecution's allegation that the advanced rental license agreement between CHC and Extron was merely an excuse to facilitate the redemption of Extron and Ferna bonds and not for the purchase of new premises for City Harvest Church. The court was taken through the timeline of email discussions and BlackBerry messages, culminating in Sharon Tan's handwritten notes for the CHC board meeting of 12 September 2009. It started with an email exchange between Sharon Tan, Serena Wee, John Lam, Chu Eng Han and Tan Yee Ping discussing the plan to get the Extron bonds off CHC's books. A plan sparked off after Auditor Sim Guan Seng told Sharon Tan he wanted action taken before the financial year closed. The prosecution trotted out a BlackBerry message from Chu Eng Han to Sharon Tan, in which Chu explained the details of his proposal to redeem both the Extron and Ferna bonds using the advance rental. This plan also took into consideration the difficulties CHC as a religious organization had been facing in procuring a new worship location for its congregation. At that time, CHC had been looking for premises to purchase for more than 3 years to no avail. Sharon Tan told the court that the ARLA given to Extron was valid and necessary to facilitate the use of Extron as a commercial vehicle to secure a property for the church. For Extron to use the ARLA to redeem the bonds from CHC fulfilled Auditor Sim Guan Seng's directive to Sharon Tan to take the bonds off the church's books. For Extron to invest remaining monies until it is required for the purchase of a building for CHC also made commercial sense, as Extron would receive returns from the investment. Sharon Tan also told the court that Chu's presentation of the plan to the board on 12 September was similar to the one he had discussed with her in their BlackBerry exchange. It was also told to the CHC board that lawyers and auditor Fung Dao Ching were okay with the redemption plan. This gave Sharon Tan the assurance that the transactions were legal and above board. During her cross-examination of Sharon Tan, the prosecution took issue with the accuracy of the board meeting minutes and alleged that Tan had deliberately missed out information of what was discussed at the meeting. Tan had maintained that she usually left out detailed discussions of confidential issues like the church's bid for different plots of land. This was because board minutes could be accessed by junior staff members, risking an unintentional leak of information. Today in court, Senior Counsel Ramesh gave another example of confidential information discussed but not reflected in the official meeting minutes. In the 12 September 2009 board meeting, Tan's contemporaneous handwritten notes reflected a lengthy discussion on CHC's staff remuneration. In the official board meeting minutes, this 30-minute discussion was only reflected in one paragraph containing few details. Sharon Tan told the court this was because the discussion was confidential and could not be revealed to other staff in CHC. DPP Cho ended her 5-day cross-examination of Sharon Tan yesterday by addressing the meeting Tan had together with co-defendants Serena Wee and Chewing Han to discuss the round-tripping charges. Tan explained that it was merely an effort to freshen her memory as it had been 2 years since the investigations began. The DPP also questioned Tan about the discrepancy between the plan to pay rental of 7 million for 8 years and Chew's later assumption of 10 million for 10 years. Sharon Tan told the court that at that time, the church had been considering different premises as options for their worship location. The consideration for 7 million for 8 years had been for the former Capitol building, while the option for 10 million over 10 years was a projection for Suntec. For more information, log on to citynews.sg. I'm Sandy Yo for City News, Singapore.